All right, welcome in. It is, we are SEC After Dark, but this is not SEC After Dark. This is After Dark commentary and reactions. So welcome in. As you can see from the upper right-hand corner of the screen, this is our rewatch of the show 1923, as seen on Paramount Plus. Great point, Jake. This is a new idea that we had to increase the content on our channel and increase the variety, because we talk TV shows on SEC After Dark anyway, so why not do it here? Just call it After Dark commentary and just make it the main focus. So, but before we get into that, because this is Steve's idea, and I want to pick his brain about why this guy over here decided that this was the show that we were going to watch. But we are presented by Dead Soxy, as you can see. Father's Day is coming past. We hope you got some good Father's Day's gifts. I did not get any Dead Soxy socks, but I did get a pressure washer, and my golf club's regripped, so watch out for me on the golf course. But Dead Soxy does have the perfect gift for any budget at any time. So not just Father's Day, but any occasion, you can get somebody a gift with Dead Soxy, whether you're buying for, or you can buy it for yourself. But Dead Soxy is excited to help you celebrate with style regardless. Sign up for Dead Soxy NIL membership and receive new styles every month, every 2 months, 3 months, or even every 6 months. All right? These socks not only comfort your feet, but they give back. Over 50% of the proceeds are pumped back into Ole Miss athletics. If a sock subscription isn't your speed, ask for a Saturday 7-pack. All right? You get 7 unique designs to coordinate each of the upcoming Season 7 home football games. And if you're not a fan of Ole Miss, they do offer Alabama ones, Tennessee ones, Georgia ones. They offer just stock ones that have really good designs. But again, these packs give back to Ole Miss athletics. All right. Visiting deadsoxy.com. Soxy is spelled just the way it is on the screen. And stock up. So go to deadsoxy.com, stock up on your favorite socks while supporting your beloved Rebels. And if you're not a Rebels fan, just they're cool socks. It's a double win. It's a win for everybody. So you can get 25% off all non-licensed styles and free shipping on all orders with the code
After Dark.
After Dark. So happy. We hope you had a happy Father's Day, but as always, stay soxy.
Exactly.
Steve, 1923. So this was your idea.
Yeah, that's my idea.
Why this show? Why do we want to do a commentary on 1923?
I watched the show when it originally came out, and it's one of my favorite shows that are out there. There's only 8 of them at the moment, so I figured it was something that we could do and lead us up until football season. I've probably watched this show on repeat more than anybody else in the country. I mean, it might be sad, but that's probably absolutely true. They should give me royalties at this point.
So, yeah.
But Corey and Jeb and Jake had not seen it. They're newbies, so you get the perspective of me that has just so engrossed himself into this thing on several avenues of it, and somebody coming into it ranked. So you get those different perspectives of what was a pretty interesting story, I think.
Interesting it is, and I was when I watched it. One of the things I had a question for you on, Steve. All right, and this may have been like when I spaced out back on Wednesday night when we were talking about Vanderbilt winning a bowl game. I may have had a similar space out moment during this show, but like I felt like when you were watching, they were arguing over grass and herding and things like that, and then all of a sudden it cut to like this Catholic school with the Native Americans and that whole scene where the girl beats the holy what out of the nun, and then she gets the lashes and has to take the bath, and then it just cuts back to the that one kind of threw me for a loop.
Go ahead.
Well, everybody needs to know, if you haven't seen this, if you want to participate in this rewatch, 1923, there's 3 separate stories that are going on. They're not interconnected necessarily any more than tangentially at this point. So you need to get used to the fact that the story is going to be about the ranch that's on the Yellowstone Ranch as it's starting with Jacob Dutton and all that clan. And then you have the Africa scenes with Spencer Dutton. And then you have the Native American school with Tiana Rainwater. And those are going to be the three main storylines that kind of permeate the whole episode.
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out the connections, but it just
Well, of course, this whole kind of like Yellowstone universe started with the Yellowstone show. So if you would watch that, you might have been a little more prepared for what they were doing, because in that show there's a running storyline of the Native Americans in that area, the reservation they're on, and their conflicts with the ranchers, and especially John Dutton and the Yellowstone Ranch. So I think that's why they brought it into this show. This is basically a prequel. So they're showing you not only the Duttons and the Yellowstone and how it's being built up, but also the Native Americans and what happened with them and why there's conflict there with everybody in that region. So, and Rainwater is a familiar last name if you've seen Yellowstone, because I Bleav the chief of the tribe in Yellowstone, his last name is Rainwater. So this is like basically it's a prequel of these families.
That makes sense. And then Spencer Dutton in the Africa, he was just hunting in Africa. Where does that play in? Yellowstone?
Yeah,
we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet. You're going to learn more and more about it. But basically, it starts off with the introduction to Spencer, where he's basically trying to kill himself.
Yeah.
Either through alcohol, through big game hunting, to where, I mean, you have the lion trying to attack him at the very beginning.
That was a hell of a way to open the series, man.
Yeah. and then at the end, it actually, Jake's electricity cut out, by the way, like 15 minutes before the end of the episode. But the cliffhanger is Spencer Dutton being attacked by a leopard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't know how that goes after episode 1. Like, I know how it goes. They don't know how it goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what the outcome of that is, and I can't wait to see episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's obviously a man that has a lot of trauma from war, so he's off trying to find himself.
Oh yeah, you saw the flashback. He almost killed the poor train attendant, the train stewardess, or whatever you call them on a train. But yeah, he had that flashback from the trenches.
Yeah, you don't even realize it, and I've seen it. I've seen this show like multiple times, multiple episodes, and something that I didn't pick up on is the fact when Spencer told the other Army guy during his flashback that he can't run because he has a broken leg.
Yeah, he did say that.
And that never registered, but man, I can't imagine what that dude went through.
Yeah, no.
I mean, just any of those just going general here, but any of those World War I vets. I mean, that was, you talk about a brutal style fighting, man. It's grueling just because you're just slogged down in the mud, you're in a trench, and you're kind of just like sitting there. It's almost it's just an underground version of like the Civil War, where you just line up in front of each other and just shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, Spencer's like obviously just trying to kill himself. I'm not giving away any spoilers here, but you'll find out eventually that he's always looking for he's willing to drink himself to death. He basically just wants all the pain to end, and it's pretty sad when you think about it. But when you look at we get our introduction to the Dutton Ranch. Whenever they do that, you have Jacob Dutton, who is Harrison Ford, and you have Cara Dutton, which is Helen Mirren, which you think those two would be the stars of this series, but you have to watch it. If you already know the answer, but you'll have to see which direction it goes. But then there's Jack Dutton, who is, honestly, Jack is a nickname for John, by the way. Yeah. So if you look at it, he would be John Dutton II, which means he would technically be the namesake, at least, of Kevin Costner's John Dutton character
from Yellowstone.
He is about to marry his wife. He's about 20 years old at this point, and he's a typical 20-year-old. And you get the introduction to Jack and to his fiancee Elizabeth and the trials and tribulations of being a rancher. The similar type stuff, if you're familiar with Yellowstone, they're like kind of letting you know that, hey, kind of the same problems are going on, because if you're going to be a rancher, the herd's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And some of it does parallel Yellowstone, which is interesting, because in Yellowstone there were 3 brothers technically, but you find out stuff about one of them. But as far as the other 2, they kind of are the same. You've got the one that stayed home and is the rancher and works with his father, and you've got the one that went off to fight in the military and is a little messed up because of it. So I found that real interesting, that it was a very similar story there, but just told in a different way, which I enjoyed.
And if you think about it, it is not different than Yellowstone. There's no lack of brothers. There's just no adopted brother.
Yeah.
That comes in because
yeah.
So it's very synonymous with Lee Dutton and with John Dutton. Yeah, Lee Dutton, and then you have Casey Dutton and Spencer Dutton. They're very synonymous.
Yeah.
There's very parallel paths that you go on in this series.
Well, I'll have to check out Yellowstone after I watch this series. But
Yellowstone's very good.
So we got introduced to the problem of the locust. Like you hear about that in history class, like the Great Locust Sweep, and then the Irish clan with their sheep. They took over. Like they cut the fence and they took over. Like so, there's a brewing. That storyline also had a cliffhanger, right? Where they come up over the ridge and they see thousands of sheep grazing on their grass. So there's going to be something that happens with the Irish clan and the Duttons.
Well, and it ends, with Harrison Ford's nephew, Jack Dutton, looking like he might be shot. So, and it's, there's a shots fired, but we don't see what happens. So, that's again, they got both of those brothers, the nephews, looking like they might have died at the end of the first episode. Which is, I'm assuming neither one of them does, but who knows?
Elizabeth was alluding to the fact that this is like something's happening. This is this is a very dangerous mission that they're about. I say mission. It sounds like they're going on a military op, but no, they're just herding their cattle up the mountain.
The head of the sheep herders there is Braun of the Blackwater, isn't he? So I'd be kind of scared of him. I'm just saying. Yeah. That guy protected Tyrion through an entire Game of Thrones series. That's impressive.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. Jack was try to go explain to his lovely future wife that I'm going to postpone the wedding because we got to run cattle, and she was
Cattle's
not
come first.
She was not happy at first, but it gets better, as it goes on. The episode goes on.
Yeah, she actually comes to see him.
Right.
Yeah, I would say Helen Mirren does a really good job of explaining that life to her and giving her the good choice. You can either accept the life or don't. Leave. It's fine.
You have a choice.
Yeah, but if you get in, you're in, and that's how it was in Yellowstone. That was their life. All of that. All the kids spent their entire life fighting for that ranch because that's all there was.
Yeah.
So it obviously starts early.
Yeah, and you kind of see, honestly, this is probably where it started. When this fight right here, everything that John Dutton and Yellowstone went through and the thing that they were dug in about probably all started in this series. Because the other prequel series is 1883, and that's all about the wagon train getting to Montana.
So it's the prequel to the prequel.
It's the prequel to the prequel.
Yeah, they did the original, then they did a really early prequel, and now this is the last one.
This is set up kind of like Star Wars is.
Yeah, it bounces all over the place.
Well, they're getting ready. Honestly, the next one will be 1944.
Okay.
And basically they're just going generations up. Yeah, they're let's see,
because you got to be close. Kevin Costner's character has to have been born in like the late 40s or real early 50s. I mean, that would make him like 65 or so on Yellowstone, which seems about right. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. At this point, if Jack Dutton is his father, then Jack doesn't have him for another 10 or 15 years, you would think at least.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you look at it like this, Jack Dutton would be having the Dabney Coleman character that we saw in the flashbacks, John Dutton's dad.
Yeah.
That would be their kid. So 1944 is probably not John Dutton. It's probably his dad as a young man.
So
and then there will be a 65. Yeah, 65 that it'll be about young John Dutton.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. There's way too many stories in this show, but it's fantastic.
I'm curious to see how the Native American Catholic school thing pans out.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting story arc.
Yeah, because Corey, like you mentioned, starting out the show with that, them poor kids had to go through so much, the beatings and stuff that they took. It's terrible.
The humiliation of they taught them how to bathe. That's awkward.
Mm-hmm. They have to learn how to live in polite white society,
Right.
It's not easy.
No, it's not to get overly political and everything, but we live in an era right now where they're trying to take books and what you learn out of school.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that this is on this because these Yellowstone universe shows are very, I guess, right-wing shows because it's cowboys. It's a weird thing, but if you look at the actual message, it doesn't actually mesh. It's just kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah.
I guess that's why it's interesting.
Well, yeah. But I like that they made him commissioner again already, like of the cattle farmers or whatever. Same thing.
He created it. Yeah. He created it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so they just always had that position, Dutton, I guess.
Yeah, Dutton has always sat in that chair. Which
Kevin Costner has it in Yellowstone. That's why.
Yeah. It was also it tripped me out a little bit, and I know it's 1923, but like they're walking through like a old Western town, which like it looked like when they're walking through it looked like the set of Deadwood, and then you see cars, and you're like, wait a second,
yeah,
like they're going to the saloon, like the horses and saloons, and then all of a sudden you see a
car,
T Ford. Model T Ford and a tank full of gas.
Well, like I said, I don't want to give spoilers, but they're also going to address like electricity coming to that area and things like that. And you just sit there and wonder, is like, hey, can you imagine the technology jump that generation went through?
Wow.
Going from literally like horse and buggies and stuff that they rode in on.
Horse buggies and oil lanterns.
Yeah, and all of a sudden everything's electrified. I mean, it's weird.
Well, you're right. Technology has changed our world so much recently, but it happens. It's happened to many generations.
I think every generation's had I think if you really studied it, every generation's had a significant bump in technology.
Yeah. Their world is just
you
changed.
Really look at it, like our parents' generation went from like 2 channels to color TV to cable.
Well, my great grandmother was born in 1913. So she went through all of this stuff that we're seeing right now. And when she died, the internet existed.
Yeah. That's a lot of change.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. I wonder what we're going to see. Like we were born in an analog era and now we live in a digital era. Like this is a computer.
Yeah.
Well, before we get out of here after this rewatch, I'm just going to go around, and I'm not going to give mine because I've seen it. I know exactly how it's going to go, but I'm going to ask each person how they think it's going to go. We'll start with Jeb. Jeb, how do you think this goes in episode 2?
Just the next episode or like the series?
The next episode. We'll just do the next episode.
Well, weirdly enough, I think both those boys are going to end up surviving. It's probably going to at least I'm feeling like the next episode is probably going to center a lot around the fight between the cattle farmers and the sheep farmers. I don't think it's going to be like an all-out battle or anything, but I think they're going to come over and find out everybody's there, and it's going to end up a fight. It's going to end up in court. And I don't know, knowing the way that these people do business, because I know the Duttons from Yellowstone, I feel like Harrison Ford might hang somebody. So it could be quite interesting. And that would just spark just an actual feud, basically. And that's how I feel it's going.
Corey?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to get killed. I think Spencer's going to end up killing the leopard. I think he's going to. I mean, the leopard's going to get him pretty good, but I think he's going to end up killing the leopard. I think it's going to. I agree with Jeb. It's going to center around the brewing feud of the sheep farmers and the cattle farmers, and I think Harrison Ford's character is going to run the sheep herders out. I think there's going to be a battle, and then an ensuing standoff, and then eventually the Irish sheep herders, I think, will relent, and then there'll be an ongoing feud where they just continue to mess with each other all throughout the season.
Okay, Jake.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. I think it's really going to center around the feud there. You know that the Irish, the leader, the guy, he does fight because he fought in the courtroom there. He punched a couple guys, so it's already bad blood there. So this next episode would probably lead into more of that, and probably I don't know if it would be resolved in that episode, maybe later on, but the tension is definitely growing in the next episode.
All right, and of course I'm going to abstain because I know exactly what's going to happen. But it's always fun to hear about other people seeing it for the first time, kind of seeing it through new eyes. Seeing it for the first time is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So Steve, you're calling the game, so you can't give your pick. You're going to Herb.
Yeah,
Street
exactly. Yeah, I'm Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
Although I want to be Lee Corso really bad, but
headgear.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Dude, Corso's a legend, man.
Yeah.
Even though he's like at the end of the road, he should just retire gracefully.
Right.
It's just time. I love him to death, though. I mean, it just feels bad. Maybe just keep him on just for the headgear at this point. But I think. Well, speaking of which, to get off topic just a little bit, I think we'll talk about this on SEC After Dark. But I think game days are back on the rise. But okay, well, this has been the 1923 Rewatch on After Dark commentary and reactions presented by Dead Soxy. We thank you for watching. Check out everything else on the channel. If you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that bell notification, subscribe so that all the alerts for all the programs, all of our YouTube shorts, and our main event, SEC After Dark on Wednesday nights, it will let you know that. All right, Jake Thomas at Tide Talk Live, Stephen Willis, Locked on Ole Miss, myself, Bleav In Georgia Dawgs. You can find us all those places. Jeb has got, in case you lost the plot, or if you lost the plot, the graphic for that. I've seen it. It's tremendous.
Yes.
I cannot wait for episode 1.
It's goated.
Don't keep us waiting. Do not withhold this from us. Okay.
I'll go ahead and get it done.
Yeah.
Get it done, man. Get it done. So, I'm gonna do a review of a movie here coming soon. Of one that I just watched. I can't. I'm in the process of picking the movie that I want to review. It might just be a practice run where I review like a well-known movie and just give my thoughts on it. But just so like I get my reps at it for the first go around, and then watch new releases and movies that I've never seen before. So,
nice.
All right, guys. This has been fun. So episode 2 next week, next Friday, we'll dive into episode 2 and we'll let you know how it goes.
And follow along. Rewatch the episode and follow along with us.
Yep.
That's right. Leave your predictions down in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
For Stephen Willis, Jeb Beecham, and Jake Thomas, I'm Corey Burton. This is After Dark Commentary and Reactions 1923 Rewatch, presented by Dead Soxy. See.